A very good morning to my dear students. I hope that you are doing well and keeping safe at your homes. In the last class, we were actually going with the lesson from your supplementary reader, and today we are planning to enter into the 5th unit in your course book. So, we have so far completed the 4 units from your course book, and now we are planning to enter into your 5th unit. Okay, and for the time being, I would like to engage the 3rd chapter in the 5th unit today. So, the 3rd chapter, I mean section 3 under unit 5 is a very beautiful poem entitled as Sports Day, written by David Threadgill. See, if you take page number 118, you can see the poem. While looking at the poem, you may feel that the poem is too short and simple. Yes, the poem is short and simple. Being the poem as a fine composition of 5 stanzas having 4 lines each, the poem takes or brings a serious philosophy of life. Let us find what is the philosophy of life conveyed in the poem. Okay, before going to start the poem, let me to ask a few questions in general. Did you remember your last school sports day? Anyone? How many of you had joined in various items or events when the school sports day was conducted in the last time? Were you succeeded in all the items you joined? Tell me, come out with your own answers. Yes, I know that so many of you had joined in different items, and evidently you were all honored with varying prizes. Now, is there anyone among you who haven't received even a single prize? If so, what did you feel then? Were you sad? Were you down? Were you unhappy? Tell me, come out with your own experiences. Now, I will give another context. So, imagine that the school anniversary is going to start on the next week onwards, and you have been informed about the items and also given the deadline for registration, or also given the deadlines for registering your names into your name into different items or different events. And if you are going to register your name in any of the items, what will be in your mind? Yeah, definitely you are actually hoping, or you are actually thinking about a first or a second, or at least either a 3rd position or a certificate. That means if you participate in an event, you will need an acknowledgement, or you will need a promotion. That means we are always concerned with winning a match. Then a question is raised in the preface portion that is winning always important? So, this is a question which we have to be asked to ourselves. Is winning always important? Is winning always important? And what do you say? What do you feel? What do you feel? Tell me. Is winning always important? Okay. Anyway, let all these questions remain unanswered in your mind. While getting into the poem, I will sure that you will definitely get answers of all these questions. Okay, now we can read the poem. So, let me to read the poem first. So, you can also read along with me. Anyway, take page number 118 and let us start reading the poem. First of all, you have to look at the preface portion. How do you feel if you didn't do well in any of the races you took part in on sports day? Is winning always important? So, in the preface portion, it is asked that how do you feel if one wouldn't do well in any of the item they joined? Yeah, definitely there would be only one answer, that that contestant would be in a complete sad state of mind, no doubt about that, simply because of the reason that when he actually joined for the contest, the first thing he was actually looking forward was an acknowledgement. It might be a first prize, or it might be a second prize, or it might be a third position, or it might be at least a certificate of acknowledgement. Okay. Anyway, now let us read the poem first. So, here I am going to read the poem as a whole. So, please do listen and read along with me. I remember our school sports day where we all went out to race. I remember jumping in a sack and falling on my face. I remember someone calling out, "Next race is starting soon." I remember running down the field with a stupid egg and spoon. I remember throwing beanbags at a circle on the floor. I remember not being very good but going back for more. I remember colored sashes and I wore the color green. I remember what we won that day was not easy to be seen. I remember looking at the score. We were still at the beginning. I remember what our teacher said, "It's the taking part, not the winning." By David Threadgold. Anyway, let us see what is conveyed in the poem as such. So, anyway, for that we can go for a stanza voice discussion. So, now I am going to read the first stanza. Please do listen and read along with me. I remember our school sports day where we all went out to race. I remember jumping in a sack and falling on my face. In the first stanza, the poet started memorizing his past memories and experiences. He says that he remembers the school sports day where they in group went out to race for winning the matches as well as obtaining the pleasure of participation and also for obtaining some acknowledgements. He again goes on to say that he still remembers the jumping in a sack and falling on his face. That means the speaker did not finish the race because he fell on his face. Maybe because of that he was disqualified. So jumping in a sack means, as you all know, it is another kind of item or an event where the competitors used to jump forward inside a sack. So the poet remembers all these good memories in the first stanza itself when he was a child or when he was doing his schooling. Okay, now let us go with the second stanza. Here I am going to read the second stanza. Please do listen and read along with me. I remember someone calling out, next race is starting soon. I remember running down the field with a stupid egg and spoon. Then in the second stanza, he remembers the announcements indicating the starting of the next item on sports day and asking the participants to get ready and lined for the match. So the event mentioned in the second stanza is egg and spoon race, where children are supposed to run holding an egg balanced in a spoon. And it could be guessed that the speaker probably did drop the egg, as he was very poor in this performance also. So this is all about the second stanza. Here we are about to move with the third stanza. So here I am going to read the third stanza. Please do listen and read along with me. I remember throwing beanbags at a circle on the floor. I remember not being very good but going back for more. Then he goes on saying about the next item. He says that he used to remember throwing beanbags in those days. What do you mean by beanbags? Yeah, as you all know, it is actually a sport item where a small bag made of cloth with beans or small pieces of plastic used as bowl. And he still remembers that he was not that much good at that particular event. So he remembers the time that he was going back for many times or many attempts, many further attempts. Okay, so this is all about the third stanza. Now here we are going with the fourth stanza. I remember colored sashes and I wore the color green. I remember what we won that day wasn't easy to be seen. Then he recalls about the long strip of cloth worn around the waist over one shoulder as part of a uniform, and he also remembers the color green which he was used to wear, and he remembers that what they won that day was not that much easy to be seen. Okay, so this is actually all about the fourth stanza. Now we are moving with the last stanza. Please do listen and read along with me. I remember looking at the score. We were still at the beginning. I remember what our teacher said. It's the taking part, not the winning. When coming to the last stanza, the whole idea or the essence of the story is being summarized here in the last stanza. He says that he remembers that they were still at the beginning to check the score also. Then he says that the thing he remembers then, when they waited there for the score to be announced, the teacher used to say that it's the taking part, not the winning. What does matter is here, according to the opinion of the teacher, is that it is only the participation, not the winning. or not the victory. It doesn't matter at all whether you participated in it or not, that only does matter. So, this was actually the advice, or this was actually the opinion, or this was actually the remark that came from their teacher while they were waiting for the result to be published. Okay. So, this is a thing we have to be learned while taking part in sports activities or even in any activities. Success and failure are certain. It may happen to anyone at any time, and they are the two sides of a same coin. If one succeeded, the other one has to be failed. We don't have any other choice, or we don't have any other options, and it is the law of the land. See, if 10 people are participating in a race, the first position will be only for one person or only for a few persons, and in some cases the first prize will be shared among a few persons, taking the time of the completion of a particular race. Taking the case of a race, the first position will be only for one person, or only a few can come to the best level. So, we have to accept that reality, and we should learn that what does matter is the participation, not the winning or not the victory. Okay. Participating in a game is not only for victory. Instead, it has something to teach us. What is that? Yeah, in normal cases, we will be matched up with different people. It really enables us to meet and converse with different people. That will really help us to adjust with varying situations and will help us to have problem solving mentality or something like that. Okay. If we can calmly and quietly deal with our failures, that means that will always help us throughout our life in different ways as related with our problem solving skill, spontaneous decision making skill, etc. And the most foremost thing is that, how could we ever be able to test our own skills, talents and capabilities unless participating in various items? So, when all these things are to be taken into consideration, participation is important in many aspects than winning. So, this is actually the philosophy of life conveyed in the poem by David Threadgold. So, that is what in the preface portion itself you have been asked that would you ever feel anything bad when you couldn't do well in any of the races you attended or you took part? And then comes the second question, is winning always important? So, imagine that or think that if you have also similar situations in your life, that means imagine that there are occasions, there are situations where you actually joined for a particular event and you couldn't come out with your best. So, on those occasions, you would never need to get tensed, or you would never need to get broken, need to get destroyed. Instead, think yourself that winning is not the be all and end all of everything. It is not the be all and end all of everything. See, if winning is there, there will be a failure also. So winning and failure, these are only the two sides of a same coin. If you will win in one game or in one item, possibly you will have a failure also. So in that way, you should have a balanced mind in order to treat these things together. If you are a wise person, or if you are an intellectual person, then definitely you will have the ability to take a balanced approach towards success and failures in your life. So if you cultivate such kind of a mentality, if you cultivate such kind of a attitude, positive attitude, then that will definitely help you to build a positive attitude to your entire life. That will definitely help you in many ways. See, for example, if you are going to play among your friends, see, every friends are coming from different families, so they all have different character traits. So if you have the ability to adjust with them, definitely you will be fit to adjust with certain or varying situations in your life also. So in that way, the writer is asking us to take every situations in life in its relevance or in its significance. See, if you failed in a particular match, take that failure also in a positive sense. That failure can also teach you different things or teach you many things. So this is actually the attitude you have to build, and that is what in the concluding section the writer wanted to give a message. So this message itself can be taken as the philosophy of life conveyed through the poem. See, when the sports activities were over, children were actually waiting for the results to be announced or published. So at that time, the teacher remarked that, yeah, it doesn't matter at all. What does matter is taking part. If you participated in a particular event, see, if you didn't win anything, that is also something great, because at least you have the ability to participate in that particular item. So never wait for or never expect winning. It's only a part of a game. So what you have to give more importance is taking part, but not the winning. And the writer actually wanted to say one more thing, that how could one ever be able to test his or her own capabilities, his or her own skills, his or her own talents, unless he or she participated in various items or in varying items. So that is what, it could be said without any doubt that participation is more important than winning. So that is actually the last line of the poem, says that it is the taking part, not the winning. So what does matter here is taking part in a particular event or participating in a particular event, not the winning. It's only a part of that. It's only a part of that game. Sometimes winning may be there, but sometimes winning may not be there. So better occupied to treat both failures and success just as the same way it comes. So this is actually the message of this poem. I hope that you understood everything which we discussed today. Anyway, I think it's the time to wind up. Before going to wind up, let me to remind you one thing, that the poem being a simple composition, we don't have that much pair of difficult words here. So anyway, you have to write down the unfamiliar words along with their meanings as mentioned in the textbook into your notebook. Okay, so anyway, I think this is all about today's class. Anyway, I think it's a time to wind up. Anyway, thank you. Have a nice day. Okay.